lot of unethical stuff going on.
You're representing somebody who you should not be representing.
I was physically, mentally, emotionally in front of the producers and cast members.
Give us some dirt on Schneider. Is it true? With the feet?
I was alone in that room and he was just talking down on me.
But I can no longer stay silent, and I won't.
Watching clips on YouTube and that is like crazy.
He looks so creepy.
When I took my shirt off on TV at 10 years old.
I worked with an incredibly emotionally abusive producer.
Inappropriate. A sicko.
It seems like everyone thinks that Dan Schneider is an absolute creep. His reputation has been dictated by inappropriate clips and child stars sharing their stories. In this video, we are going to go through what people have said about Dan in the past and hear some exclusive stories from stars who have been intimidated by this man. Just when you think it couldn't get any worse, it does. So let's get into it. Gas prices have been through the roof lately, and people are stressing out at the pumps just trying to make it around. And I know a lot of people are feeling hopeless, but there's hope. I'm super excited to share with you guys the Make Gas Cheap Again event. New players can go onto your mobile device and download the Bingo Clash app to participate. And from April 7th through April 20th, you will have the chance to win a gas gift card. Each player gets 3 tries to reach their highest score, and you will have the ability to play twice a day. So every 12 hours, you can play again for the chance to win big. The event will be promoted on a large banner on the homepage of the app. So as soon as you click on the app and get in, you will see how to participate in the game. This is a limited time event, so make sure you guys check out my link below and download Bingo Clash to participate. Each day, the top 10 scores in each event will win a gas gift card of varying amounts depending on how high they placed, with the grand prize being a $500 gas gift card. All participants will get the chance to spin a lucky wheel where they can win in-game prizes and also have a second chance to win either a $50 or $500 gas gift card. They are giving away thousands of gallons of gas every day for free. So check it out using my link in the description below. Thank you so much, Bingo Clash, for sponsoring this video, and enjoy. So Dan Schneider is a TV producer, screenwriter, and once upon a time, an actor. He started his career in Hollywood playing supporting roles in a variety of films and television shows. Then in the mid-90s, he decided to take a step back and work behind the scenes as a screenwriter and producer. One of his first gigs was the show All That. Then as his career progressed, he created some of the most iconic kids television shows. But as time went on, his reputation was stained by a slew of allegations made against him. So we're going to go through some of the allegations that have been made against him, some from the past and some that you guys have never seen before. I did an exclusive interview with Alexa Nikolas a few months ago, and during this interview, she shared some horrific details about Dan. But before we move on to Alexa's story, I want to start off by talking to you guys about Angelique Bates. She's an actress and comedian who's best known for starring in 2 seasons of the show All That. And since working with Dan Schneider, she has broken her silence.
From 1992 to 1996, I was a series regular on Nickelodeon's All That. I was only 12 years old, and that's when my nightmare began. I was physically, mentally, emotionally in front of the producers and cast members, and sometimes they could even hear me yelling. I was pressured by all the adults that were set to protect me to stay silent. I did, and I have. But I can no longer stay silent, and I won't.
So over the years, Angelique has done a few different interviews where she has shared tragic details about working at Nickelodeon. Angelique has shared that Dan Schneider wanted to separate the child from the parent on set, which Angelique's mother refused. And once she refused, he decided to make some advances, some inappropriate moves on the mother to try to force her off set. Here's a clip from an interview that Angelique did with a YouTube channel called Revenge of the Sis. And in this clip, she's going to describe how they made moves on her mother.
She was always in there like swimwear. Now, the second season, the reason why it started looking like I was an extra is because first season, certain people, I don't want to say names, certain people try to make advances towards my mother. My mother turned them down.
Ooh.
And when that happened, my role started suffering. So because my mother went to sleep with certain people, it affected me. My mom completely blocked anything that was trying to happen. There was a situation where something inappropriate did try to happen. We were at a party, and my mom completely blocked it. But that's like the only memory that I have. But my mom was pretty much that wall, and they did not like that.
So Angelique's mother did not comply with the rules on set. So in season 2, Angelique's lines were severely cut. She barely had any screen time. And a common theme I see with Dan is that he speaks down to the actors and actresses he works with. Keep in mind, these are children. Make sure you guys go and follow my friend Obscure Nickelodeon on YouTube and Twitter. I'll list everything below because she has a great video on Angelique. But at one point, Dan Schneider pulled Angelique to the side and told her never to use a certain voice again, because on All That they played a variety of different characters, so you would switch up your voices for certain characters. He claims that Angelique's performance was taking away the spotlight from other actors.
I had a character voice I was doing, killed them, had everybody just laughing. And actually, Dan took me to the side and was just like, yo, that was funny, blah, blah, blah. But kill that voice because you're taken away from such and such a thing.
Ooh.
But it was all of our thing, you know?
Right.
And so when I got rid of the voice, everybody was like, why did you do that? But I wasn't about to be like, well, Dan told me, like, I just like, oh, I don't want to do the character no more. But they were like, it was funny. But I was specifically told by him, don't do that voice anymore because you're taking the shine away from such and such.
Another statement that Angelique has made in the past is that Dan Schneider and Nickelodeon favored the male actors over the female actors, which created a toxic and hostile environment.
Wow, so even then they had this weird little hierarchy.
Yeah, caste system.
Yeah, like
well,
a caste
first
system.
of all, they favor the males anyway. At that network, they favor the males.
After hearing Angelique say this, it made me think about another Nickelodeon star, Gibby. If you guys remember Gibby from iCarly, he always had his shirt off and he was super goofy. He's played by Noah Munck. Noah has actually gone on a podcast before, and he has made statements in favor of Dan. He doesn't fully defend him, but he claims that he never saw any of this funny business that other actors talk about.
So I don't know. That's the main challenge, is sort of transitioning from working as a kid to working as an adult.
On that same token of being a child actor, a lot of negative things are associated with child actors. Have you ever been on a huge bender or gone down that dark path before?
No, I have not. Thankfully, I've never struggled with that.
With what's going on in Hollywood, have you ever been?
Yeah, hopefully not.
No, I have not.
It's not too late.
I had.
Jesus. We can set you up.
I had cool ass parents who were around all the time, and they were watchful. But I mean, that shit probably goes on. I never
They knew what
got
was up.
firsthand looks into it, but yeah, it's fucked up. Like that shit's dark.
All right. Well, Gibby, let's not, beat around the bush. I keep calling you Gibby like an asshole. I'm sorry.
No, you're fine. Call me whatever. I don't really
Jesus
care.
Christ.
You're chilling.
No. Well, you said you came prepared for this question, and I know our audience is itching for it. We've already gotten a couple of questions. Give us some dirt on Schneider. Is it true with the feet?
I know what you know in the sense that I've seen.
Well, I'm sorry, no. I just gotta, before we dive into that, just so people are aware, give us also a rundown of who Schneider is and if you worked with him, or just so people are aware.
Yeah. Oh, totally. Yeah. Well, Schneider created iCarly, so I know him. I know him really well. That's the thing where I was sort of. I mean, if that shit went on, I'm like that's devastating to me because I don't see him in that light. So watching clips on YouTube and shit of that is like crazy. But I mean, the foot fetish shit is like, okay, bro, come on. Like, I never really noticed that when I was 15 on the show, but of course, looking in retrospect, it's like, okay, all right.
All the pieces fell into place.
all the yeah. I just got 2020 and knew what was up.
Did he ever ask you to take your shoes off or anything like that? Anything to do with your fit?
No, but I took my shirt off on TV at 10 years old, so I don't know.
Maybe that wasn't even part of the original script. Schneider just wrote that in.
No, I don't know. No, and I never observed, like, saw anything like that or got hints of that. So it might be baseless rumor, but I don't want to speak. Like, what if some shit comes out? I don't want to be like on record being like, no, you know. So I have no clue.
So Noah Munck claims that he didn't see anything gross go down. I mean, as adults, we can look back at the feet stuff and acknowledge that that was weird, but he didn't have the same experience as some of these female actors had with Dan, which I think is telling because Angelique said that they favored the men over the women. Well, in this case, boys over girls, because these are all children. But before we move on to Jennette McCurdy, I want to share one more clip from Angelique Bates. Angelique claims that she was never touched by Dan Schneider, but she was verbally harmed by him, and that seems to be a common theme with a lot of these stars, that he would talk down to them and be really aggressive to a young kid.
To lack of a better word, they make their own environment where they could, control the narrative, control what happens.
Well, I mean, back then when I was on, Dan was the one that was controlling all that.
Right.
So, like I said, there were situations. I dealt with situations. There was, I'm not going to try that one. There were situations where, like I said, physically, no, Dan never touched me. Mm-hmm. But there were, he verbally, I did damn near almost get cussed out by him on set for something that ended up being proven it wasn't my fault. But it was just like, even as a kid, like I said, there was a lot of unethical stuff going on.
I wonder what she means by unethical stuff. I mean, I think it's already so effed up that a grown man is cussing at a child. Like, can't you go to their manager or their parent or something like that? And Jennette McCurdy has alluded to the same behavior from Dan. Jennette McCurdy was a star on the show iCarly, and then she got her own show, Sam and Cat, with Ariana Grande. There was a podcast that Jennette McCurdy went on, and during this podcast, she shared that Dan was really nasty to her, would belittle her, and ruined her experience working at Nickelodeon.
What about the bad parts? That sounds easier.
It certainly is. Bad parts. I mean, there's a lot of abuse that happens. I worked with an incredibly emotionally abusive producer. Even talking about it now, my face gets hot thinking of it, just Ooh. Because, he'd say things like, you guys would work at Yogurtland if you didn't work for me. And he would just scream.
How old were you?
I was, when I started the show, I was 13.
Does Yogurtland even hire people when they're 13? Is that even a reasonable thing to say?
The real questions. Thank you. Exactly. It's like he was like a comically, like, the bad teacher or whatever you would expect in like an over the top broad family comedy. That's what he seemed like, very villainous and almost like mustache twirly in his kind of personality.
So Jennette McCurdy was 13 years old, and she's being cussed at and belittled by Dan Schneider. And she actually kind of protested him in some way. Back in 2014, there were the Kids' Choice Awards, and Dan Schneider was awarded the Lifetime Achievement Award, which is a very big award for someone whose reputation went sour very quickly. There were a ton of other stars who came out to support Dan, like creepy Drake Bell, and there's the Massey brothers over there. We've got Victorious up in the back. Hey, Victoria. We've got Ariana Grande there. So he had a lot of support, but you don't see Jennette McCurdy. After the awards show, a lot of fans were wondering why Jennette skipped out, and she ended up going onto Twitter to explain her absence. She wrote, "A lot of you guys are asking why I didn't attend the Kids' Choice Awards. I wish I could explain everything as thoroughly as I would like to, but unfortunately, a simpler explanation is all I can write." NDA, like much? Like, what do you mean you can't share your truth? I was put in an uncomfortable, compromising, and unfair situation. Many of you have guessed what it is, and I had to look out for me. I chose not to go because sticking up for what is right and what is fair is what my mom taught me is always the most important thing. So a lot of people believe that Jennette did not attend the award show because of whatever's gone down between her and Dan Schneider. Throughout the years, Jennette has hinted that Dan has done some things to her. Jennette posted a Vine back in 2013, throwback to the Vine days, but people consider this Vine sinister and disturbingly cryptic because in this video, she looks very disheveled and she claims that Dan did this to her.
Hey, Dan Schneider. I know you're watching my Vine. Do you like my Vine? Vine. Look what you've done to me. Hey, Dan Schneider. I know you're watching my Vine. Do you like my Vine? Vine. Look what you've done to me.
I think Jennette is talking about the show and how he made her look all super crazy for a certain scene, but a lot of people hold this Vine against Dan. I actually think I missed this scene if it was on iCarly because I don't remember Jennette looking like that in any episodes. And there's another Vine that people like to hold against Dan because Jennette is sharing a bunch of bruises on her body and she claims that this is because she's working on a sitcom. Why would you have so many bruises all over your body?
Working on a sitcom. Bruise. Maybe it's just because I'm anemic. Yeah. Working on a sitcom. Bruise. Maybe it's just because I'm anemic. Yeah.
Okay, I don't think that Dan caused those bruises like directly, but a lot of people are confused to why she would be so beat up on set. But now let's switch gears and talk about Alexa Nikolas. So if you guys don't know who Alexa Nikolas is, she is a former Nickelodeon star who was on the show Zoey 101. She played Nicole Bristow, which was Jamie Lynn's best friend in the show. I did an interview with Alexa Nikolas because we spoke about Jamie Lynn's book and we set the record straight. But during this interview, we talked about Dan Schneider and I've been saving it for this video. We're going to start off with some of the craziest shit that Dan has done because he's literally sent a lawyer to Alexa Nikolas to ask her her price. How much do we need to pay you to stay silent on Dan? In my opinion, if you send a lawyer after someone to buy their silence, you're already guilty. But again, that's just my opinion. So I'm going to play a very long clip from this interview where she's going to describe what's gone down.
I have something funny to say about Dan Schneider that he's going to hate that I'm saying. Sorry, but honestly, I was living in Palm Springs. It's like I feel like I'm a grandma. I'm like saying but I was living in Palm Springs and I just started to kind of speak out about how weird Dan Schneider was. And I remember doing a post about sexualizing, a young girl, whatever. And this kid reached out to me who was doing a documentary and was putting all this stuff together about Dan Schneider and kind of his weird.
Oh no, that guy's a phony though. I know who you're talking about. The British one?
Oh, no, he wasn't British.
Okay, then maybe it's a different one. Okay, sorry.
Okay, yeah, he wasn't British. He was actually American kid.
Oh, so it seemed legit. Okay.
Yeah, it was we didn't talk that much, but I remember him coming to me and I guess he was going around to different people. And I'm sitting at my place in Palm Springs and I get a text from my ex. I don't want to call him a boyfriend because he was a scammer, but he was a person I was seeing at the time. And he texted me and he goes, "Some lawyer is calling me looking for you." And I was like, weird. Okay, this is so weird. Because also, how do you get his number? Who has his number? That's ridiculous. He's like a random person. He's not even in the industry like that. It was just so weird. And I was like, okay, well, have him call me. I thought it was. I had no idea what it was about. Like, it's so good. So I said, give me the phone number. So he gave me the phone number, and I called him, and I was like, hello? Like, who is this? You were calling my boyfriend. And he goes, oh, hi, this is, I forgot. It was like Bill, Joe, John, one of those names. And he was like, I am the lawyer for Dan Schneider, Schneider's Bakery. And my jaw just, I was like, what?
Yeah.
So I just wanted to talk to you about a few things. Like, do you have something that you want to say about Dan Schneider? And I was like, oh God, this is legit Dan Schneider doing his rounds of shh.
Yeah.
Shh, 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 power play. And I was like, I have some things to say, but like, nothing, I just have some things to say, yes, but like nothing that's personally happening to me, And he goes, are you going to continue, talking about this? And I was like, listen, you're representing somebody who you should not be representing. I told him, I said, you're calling a young girl who worked on his show when she was 12 and saw some shit, and you're trying to scare tactic her into not, speaking out about what she should speak out about. And he was like really uncomfortable and didn't necessarily know what to say. And he goes, listen, would you be comfortable coming into a room and meeting up with me and Dan?
You're like, no.
Where this happened, true story. This is a true story. And I'm sitting on my couch in Palm Springs just going, what is happening? Like, what is happening? If we, if this was a criminal investigation, you could literally find the call log of like the whole thing. It was his lawyer.
Yeah.
It really actually happened. And I said, absolutely not. This is how I felt. I was just like, you're going to try and like give me money or something. And you're going to try and shut me up in there. And you're going to do the same thing to me that you did to me when I was 12 years old. And like, no.
Yeah.
So I told him I was like drinking a nice glass of wine by myself. And I was like, no, I'm not going in that room. You're not going to silence me. And I'm going to say whatever I want to say when I want to say it. And I hung up on him. And so that was the experience that I had, recently with him. Which he's probably going to hate that I said this, but don't do that. Like,
which kind of shows some guilt. I mean, there's a lot of rumors about him online, and it's like he's going around making his rounds, trying to make sure he can silence everyone. I mean, that's really freaky.
It is, and it's just like when I see things as a mom now, like now that I'm a mom, you get like a different eye. I mean, I feel like you start to see things just a little bit differently. And when I would see the stuff that he was doing on his personal, rogue video, I don't know. In my opinion, it was extremely inappropriate, uncalled for, disrespectful, and I think like kind of humiliating, and dehumanizing, to say the least. And I don't think any person should be ever doing that to anybody, just because you should have the understanding that could be seen in a way that is not okay. And
it seems like for him, it seems like he knows that. That's why he's doing it. He wants it to be seen that way, and that's what makes it even more ridiculous. Sick.
It's too ridiculous. It's like, you can't tell me you don't know what you're doing.
Like on set, he's very much like it needs to, like he's
very much
down to the T, just like
very. Oh yeah, it needs, the boss.
Did you ever have any like feet scenes? Like, I don't remember, but like, do you have any?
I did. No, but I think Quinn did.
Oh yeah, she did. Yeah, that was freaky.
Yeah, it's like the feet stuff. Like, where is these videos gonna end up? What are they gonna end up being on? You're irresponsible. Like, get a mind. Like, get some. It's just so crazy to do that as an adult. And also your humor is immature. How old can you be in making that kind of shit? Like,
exactly.
It's like, grow up. And also like, what the hell is going on? Like, I remember really seeing it for the first time and just being like, oh yeah.
Yeah, like this adds up. Like,
makes sense. Like, oh, this makes a lot of sense. Like, oh, and there's no way of defending yourself. I'm sorry, you can't do it. Because it's too on the nose, bro.
Yeah.
You know, it's like you on the nose, like 100%. You're doing something so weird that only your mind goes. I remember trying to click on one of them and it was like only for 18 and over. And I was like,
oh my God, I have some of mine that are age restricted too. Like they
and I
age
remember
restricted
it was
stuff.
just one of his videos though.
Yeah.
I know
that's
why
a red flag.
Yeah. I was like, you want to know why that's age restricted? Because it's inappropriate material of minors, of young people, of children.
Yeah.
And you're, you know.
And it was okay back then. It was like, okay. And he worked a lot too. It's like, you've only had your Zoe 101 experience, you know?
Totally.
So that was a lot to unpack, but hold up because there's even more. One thing Alexa did not appreciate is how Dan wrote her character Nicole Bristow. The premise of her character was to be boy crazy. And keep in mind, she's like 12 years old at this point, and she's bad at sport. She's not good at golf or basketball, but she's really into boys. And why does Dan Schneider write a role like this?
And when I look back, obviously, I hate that old man like wrote a 12-year-old girl as boy crazy and, you know, made her dumb. Like, do I think that's chill? I don't. And I would say that to his face. Like, you're a grown man, okay? And you wrote a character that is boy crazy. That's strange. Grown men don't do that. Or they shouldn't unless they're weird, you know. So that's like, you know, that's my personal experience with that.
On top of Alexa Nikolas's role being inappropriate at that age, there were so many inappropriate jokes in Zoe 101. If you guys have not seen my video before, definitely go and check that out. As you guys know, the reason why I spoke to Alexa Nikolas was to clear the air when it comes to Jamie Lynn's book, Things I Should Have Said. In this book, Jamie Lynn writes that Alexa wanted to be the star of the show and wanted it to be Nicole 101. And the only other time that Alexa heard this was once when Dan Schneider pulled her to the side and yelled at her, went off on her, and told her that, you know what, this isn't your show. There is zero excuse for a grown man to pull a 12-year-old to the side and belittle her, go off on her. Again, it's so incredibly unprofessional.
Because the only time I heard it's not Alexa 101 was from Dan Schneider. And I was alone in that room and he was just talking down, you know, on me. And so it was triggering because I was like, the only time I've ever heard me, you know, being the lead or something was from him. And it was in such a condescending way to make me really understand my place. You know, like you're not anything. Like you're just a co-star.
Yeah, you're disposable.
Totally. Like get out of here. Like we don't really need you, you know, kind of thing. So that was the only time I ever heard it. And so I was pretty shocked that she came up with that.
As I was chatting with Alexa, we spoke about a few specific moments from Zoe 101. One in particular was this scene where Zoe and Nicole are in the store and Nicole, aka Alexa, accidentally squirts some stuff onto Jamie Lynn's face, and obviously it's inappropriate. We don't need to get into details why. I can't even play the clip here because it will get age restricted, but Alexa shares that Dan was very meticulous when it comes to the cum shot. Oh gosh, the squirting that went on between Nicole and Zoe in the show, which I think, again, speaks volumes to these really creepy and inappropriate scenes we see that he's created.
And also just seeing, you know, some of the stuff that I saw.
Yeah.
I saw some weird shit, to be honest with you, that now when I look back, I wish I would have been like, what the hell?
Especially as an adult. Yeah, you're like, how did that go down?
Down. Oh, yeah. So you're like, this is weird. I don't like Dan Schneider professional. That's fucking, but you know, whatever. But then when I also look back and I see, you know, the squirting of the Zoe 101, what is that? Which is like legit his, sorry.
Yeah, no, I know you're talking about exactly like on the face. Like, yeah,
like
that was
shot. Like a, you know, like it's so and I do remember like how neurotic they were about the placement of it. And I thought that was kind of weird. And I remember Dan like being neurotic about that placement.
Yeah.
And as a kid, you know, also if someone did that to my daughter, I wish I could tell Dan Schneider to his face. If you did that to my daughter, bye-bye. Yeah. Like I would be on picketing on like the side of the street, just being like, you are gross.
A sicko.
A sicko. Sorry, there's like no excuse for that behavior. Like, I don't care what you want to say. You don't do that. That is so weird. It's inappropriate and it can be misinterpreted and like, you know, misinterpreted. Like that's just weird to do as a grown person. And then also, you know, especially when I saw, oh God, I'm like but when I saw like the warp, what is that stuff?
Yeah, like are you talking with like Ariana, like with?
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of feet stuff, and I mean, there's themes across all of his shows that like nobody can deny, you know.
Yeah, because I remember seeing him do that. Like I remember him wanting to take photos of feet. And like I remember that, you know, and I saw it happen in front of my very eyes. And that's freaking weird. Like,
and you know he's coming back too, right? He like has been pitching shows to like new networks.
For the love of God.
Yeah, I mean now it came out in July, so who knows where he's at now with it? But he was pitching shows to new networks, like kid shows and stuff. And
there are so many disturbing clips from so many of Dan's shows, and it's interesting to hear someone confirm that these were deliberate and that he tried to make these young kids do something that would come off a certain way on film. And I asked her a little bit about his demeanor and how he was on set, how he was as a person. And this is what she had to say.
He was just not, you know, what I remember about him very specifically was that he was like to like, this sounds so ridiculous, but he would just like, it was very hot and cold with me in this weird way. Like some days he would be, you know, oh, blah, 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 Alexa. And then other days, you know.
So was he ever like kind of like I don't want to say fatherly figure, but like nurturing in that way or no? Nope.
No. He was not fatherly. He was kind of bizarre. Kind of like an eccentric person that like, you know, some days you don't even know, like he's just doing his thing. It wasn't like, you know.
It's like not every day was a super like a circus, but it'd be like
not at all.
Yeah.
There's just specific moments, you know. But I really hate that Zoe 101 scene of the
gel, like whatever
gel
it was.
thing, whatever he wants to call it. And you know, my character, I just don't like the sexual.
There was also, wasn't there like a scissor, like I can't remember, like scissor or something? No, it was like the term was used, like something scissor.
I would not be surprised.
Yeah.
That stuff to me, you know, when we're dealing with children, you know, watch
it's just
it.
so weird. Yeah.
It's too weird. And don't, you know, obviously some of these conspiracy theories go super, I'm not you know, one of those people. But you know, when you look at something and you know it's wrong, you go with that. Don't let him or somebody tell you, you know, that's not it. I wasn't thinking that. You know, that's just gaslighting. It's like, if you feel that, I've been learning as I'm getting older, and I love saying this, when you have a good feeling about something, it's true most of the time.
Yeah.
And you should go with that. You know, not always. You're going to be wrong sometimes. But when something's very strong and it's obvious, you know, you got to be like, that rubbed me the wrong way. And why did that rub me the wrong way? And even though this person is so-and-so and so, it doesn't matter. You know, you can still make your own, you know, discernment around it. And I don't know. That's how I personally feel.
I mean, you were so kids too. It's like you were so innocent back then. It's like it's a lot of like realizations later on that you're like, I didn't even know in the moment, you know.
I didn't know anything, you know,
at
all at that, you know, that age. Like even when I look back at 16, it's like a child, and you think you're mature. Because like some random people will say that to you on set, or some creepy guy, you know, you're so mature for your age, you know, red flag. I've heard that a bunch of times. And it's like, you're not. You look back and you're like, oh my God, I was a child. And being in set dynamics like that, I feel like that's the one thing I don't like about kids being on set per se is because I don't know how much of it is technically consensual. Just because you're so young and you're just doing, you know, you're spontaneous at that age. You're not really making the thought process isn't foreseeing your future. It's very in the moment, present now, which is the best part about being around a kid like Nova. Like, she's so in the now, and that's amazing. But someone can exploit that.
Yeah.
Can exploit that innocence of the present moment and not thinking down the line. And that's something that I feel like with Hollywood, especially when I was younger, was dangerous. Just because is a kid really seeing the full picture? I don't know.
Not at all. And like also you're being reminded that you're so grown, you're so professional, you are getting your schoolwork done at home. And I think like honestly going to school like has like taught me a lot just socially and stuff. And like you just don't experience that when you're around these adults all the time. And even in a mix, you know, it's completely different to be around a bunch of kids. So
it's totally true. Like there was an absence of my own childhood for sure. And, you know, when I look back at it, of course, like, you know, I don't like the whole thing of, you know, everything happens for a reason. Cause that's sometimes also like a manipulative term for, you know,
to like justify things happening.
You're like, you deserve that. It all worked out for you in your favor. You're like, what are you talking about? That's manipulative. But it is your life though. So like whatever happened, like you gotta deal with what is happening in front of you. And for me personally, I've tried to, you know, heal myself, educate myself, move on where it was needed. And then, you know, think about things more where it was also needed, and finding that balance and just kind of taking it day by day has definitely helped me. So like when I look back at it, of course I could wish maybe things were X, Y, and Z, but at the same time, I am grateful for my life. Like I'm grateful for it. I know where my privilege is too. Like I know where I know my place, and it's like I know where to be grateful, and also obviously to be a human and be sad about certain things. Like that's totally fine. But I've definitely found the balance now in my life.
I want to thank Alexa Nikolas again for coming on my channel and being so vulnerable and strong and open. We need more people like her in Hollywood. But let's go ahead and move on to Amanda Bynes. So everyone knows who Amanda Bynes is, and she has worked very closely with Dan Schneider. Whether it was on the show All That, or the Amanda Show, or in their movies together, they worked very closely together, and I would say she probably had the closest relationship with Dan out of everyone we've spoken about today. I mean, at one point, she was living with Dan Schneider and his wife, which, if you guys don't know anything about his wife, definitely go and check out my video because we have exposed her already. But at one point, she told People magazine that Amanda was spending a lot of time with them. Amanda has never had a close relationship with her parents, Rick and Lynn. And it's clear that her parents were absent through her childhood because she was working so much that she ultimately lived at her producer's home. This magazine no longer exists, but we have a screenshot of a summary, and pretty much Amanda was trying to emancipate herself from her parents, and supposedly she wanted to live with her Nickelodeon producer, Dan Schneider, and his wife. And there's no doubt in my mind that she was living at their home at some point. So Amanda has a close friend in Hollywood named Enty. He's anonymous, and he's a lawyer who has a website called Crazy Days and Nights. And on his website, he shares blind items from different celebrities, hinting at information that he's got exclusive. Enty has actually confirmed that this message is from Amanda Bynes, and this came out when Dan Schneider was fired from Nickelodeon. Last night, after the news broke about a certain producer Schneider, an actress all of you know who knows the producer as well as anyone, sent me this. So here's Amanda's message. Thank you for all of your ongoing support. I don't know how any of these men sleep at night, but if there's one thing that I do know is that what's done in the dark always comes to light, which is a very cryptic message. And through the message, there are capital letters that read, Dan did it. So she's sending a subliminal message that Dan did it. She continued, sorry, I thought it was clever. Again, thought it was clever to put Dan did it. Unfortunately, I will obviously not be making any comment whatsoever. And unfortunately, I feel as though the only way that legitimate stories can make headlines regarding Dan is if others speak publicly on his behavior. Dan was truly like a second father to me. Remember that. But things changed. After the second incident, I don't know if I'll ever be able to have children or the family of my dreams, which a lot of people thought that maybe she was insinuating that he made her remove a baby at one point that could have disrupted, I don't know, her ability to have children in the future. Again, that's an assumption here, and it's something that a lot of people have talked about before, but you cannot confirm. So Enty Lawyer actually has a podcast on his Patreon and a few different clips leaked onto TikTok. And in his podcast, he spoke about how Amanda felt about Dan.
And he's just sitting there like he owns the place. And I'm thinking, he looked so creepy. He looked so creepy. And I said something like that to that effect to Amanda. And I said, and then she said something like, I know all about fat and creepy.
She said that she knows all about fat and creepy. I cannot. Well, there was a movie that Dan and Amanda worked on called Easy A. And during production, Amanda was way overworked to her breaking point. And honestly, when it comes to her breakdown that she had, I feel like he's the reason why, because he pushed her way too hard for so many years.
And she kept saying, I need a break, I need a break, I need a break, I need a break. And then she would say, she must have said that 30 or 40 times, I need a break. And then she would say 30 or 40 times she was tired or exhausted or, again, needed a break. Can't go on.
So now let's talk a little bit about Amanda's public breakdown, because I feel like we learned a lot about her past during that time. So Amanda was going through it back in 2012, but in 2014, she accused her father of doing inappropriate things to her on Twitter. She later retracted these claims, but a lot of people believe that she was actually speaking about Dan Schneider, because remember, he's like a second father to her. Here are some of the tweets that she posted. She claims that her dad would fondle himself in front of her so many times that at one point she started recording him. She would record him saying or doing something inappropriate around her so that she could put him in jail and get him arrested. And she claims that her mother was aware of this treatment and no one ever called police or tried to help her out. He embarrasses her to no end. And again, she's writing about her father here, but is she writing about her father or writing about Dan? Here's another clip from Enty's podcast, and he believes that Amanda was speaking about Dan when she sent out those tweets.
And I know the one time that she had said something about her dad molested her, and I don't know if that's true. But I think what she kind of meant, and I'm just guessing, is that her parents weren't around when she was getting molested. So in a sense, her parents were doing it.
So in my personal opinion, I do believe that she was speaking about Dan when she sent out those tweets, because her own father was so absent in her life. Obviously I wasn't there, but Dan was there and he was around her for long periods of time. Our friend ObiscureNick has spoken to an anonymous source, and this source told her that Amanda was Dan's golden child and was his absolute favorite because her parents did not interfere at all. She would binge eat from the depression, and they even fed her Adderall to make her more hyper for scenes. Giving Adderall to a young kid could really mess with their brain chemistry and their development. And I've been prescribed Adderall before, so I cannot imagine taking it as like a 12-year-old. This anonymous source also told Obscure Nickelodeon that when they were working on the set of the Amanda show, that Dan Schneider would come up behind Amanda and would hold her from behind like he was her boyfriend or something. And the sickest part, her parents were right there and just, wouldn't interfere, wouldn't stop it, wouldn't, call him out on it, wouldn't protect their daughter. Even though Dan's reputation has been dragged through the mud, he's coming back to Hollywood, and he just doesn't give an F. Like, he literally does not care. He's coming back to TV to make content for kids. After all of these child stars have come out and said these things about him, he's over here trying to pitch shows to networks. In an interview with the New York Times, Dan told them that over the years, he has grown and matured as a producer and a leader. I'm sure I'm better and more gentle at communication today. What? Is he just confirming everything we said? I'm better and more gentle at communication today. So there he is admitting that he was very aggressive to these young kids when working on these shows. And honestly, I don't think I'm ready for Dan Schneider to come back to television. I mean, I feel like there are so many stars out there that could have already been paid off, that could have, had these lawyers come to them and, pressure them into silence. And there is more to this story. I just know it. So I want to hear what you guys think in the comments below. Here's my email if you guys have any other video ideas for me. I've been thinking about doing some more Nickelodeon stuff, like some game shakers, like, inappropriate moments from that and all that. So feel free to email me any ideas you guys have for me. Let's go ahead and open a P.O. Box package item. It looks like this is from Wonky Kat Comix. So I'm assuming it's gonna be like some comic book or something. Let's go ahead and read this letter. Ooh, it's a long one. Dear Sloan, thank you for doing what you do and speaking out against certain people in power, even if the topic is uncomfy and no one else is talking about it. I admire you greatly. In this package is a Wonky Cat coloring book and stickers. If coloring is a stress reliever for you or someone you love, I hope you or they or someone enjoys it. Oh, thank you. That is so sweet. So it looks like this is your comic. This is so funny. He's a bit wonky and stands for the belief that it's okay to be imperfect. Oh, that is so sweet. And it looks like they have a website and everything. So I will list everything below. You've got a Tumblr too, girl. I feel like Tumblr, who has Tumblr anymore? I don't know, but I will list everything below. Let's go ahead and check this out. I'm actually getting a bunch of P.O. Box packages items sent to me like right now. So wow, I'm so excited. Thank you so much. If you guys have anything you would like to send to me or to shout out your business or anything like that. Oh, and we got a sticker right here. This is so cute. Like a little can. Oh, I love this. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. And I love you guys so much. Thank you so much for being here and just watching this whole video. If you made it to the end, comment below. Comment something below. What if I did like an emoji? People do that on Instagram though. Comment like, I don't know, some like blue hearts or something. Anyways, I love you guys so much and I'll see you in a new video soon. Bye guys.